So good morning to everyone. I am Jim Haldeman, the Business Development Manager for Instrumentation at Lesman Instrument Company and the co-host of this webinar. Joining us this morning from Siemens is Martin Dingman, who has more than 28 years of experience with process instrumentation, serving in a variety of manufacturing, engineering project management, marketing, and sales roles. In his current role as Business Development Manager for Process Instrumentation at Siemens Industry, Marty is responsible for identifying products, opportunities, customer solutions, and promoting the Siemens Digitalization offering. Also joining us from Siemens is John Doscher, who has more than 25 years of industrial application experience, including roles managing instrumentation project teams, working in sales, and working in the field as a service engineer. As the department manager for Siemens Engineered Instrument Solutions Group, John is responsible for developing and promoting digitalization opportunities involving field measurement instrumentation.
Thank you, Jim.
Yes, we welcome Marty and John to our featured speakers and thank them for sharing their expertise with our customers. Marty and John, I give you the floor.
Thanks, Jim. So this is John Doscher. I'm going to start the presentation. Go to the next slide. So we're going to walk through the introduction with you guys, and then Marty and I will talk with you guys about our solutions and applications, and as well as digitalization and what digitalization means for your company. And in addition, we'll close out with our other product offerings and our pressure calibration service. Okay, so the Engineered Instrument Solutions team. So just to spend another moment to talk about who we are. So Engineered Instrument Solutions, as you'll see the acronym EIS, that's who we are. We are the PI division of Siemens for process instrumentation. So we work with the likes of Lesman in providing solutions around our instrumentation. We are located in Harleysville, Pennsylvania, which is about 45 minutes northwest of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And again, we are the instrumentation division. Our solutions, and we'll talk to you about today, will incorporate the different product offerings that Siemens has together, some of the automation components from our digital factory division, as well as some of our communications and wireless solutions from our CI division, or communication information division. So all the solutions that we'll talk to you about today are basically come from the field, come from applications and solving problems for instrumentation and upgrading, new, retrofitting old technology, replacing with new, and then coming into a digitalization type solution where you talk about wireless technologies and also cloud-based applications where you can get access to your process information on a mobile platform or a desktop application right at your fingertips. So with that, I'm going to let Marty kick off and start talking about the FEC 920 energy calculator.
Thank you, John. Again, just thanks again, Jim, for introductions. Again, my name is Marty Dingman, Business Development with Siemens Process Instrumentation. I work with John Doscher. We wanted to start the presentation off with some of the standard offerings that we have. And then as we move further in, we'll get into, as John mentioned, digitalization and bringing some applications and information to you with some remote monitoring. But I wanted to start off with the FEC 920 thermal energy calculator. This is a versatile thermal energy calculator that's designed to monitor a building's energy efficiency or for billing of your chilled water and hot water. What's nice with this design is it's a package solution from Siemens EIS that can be ordered through Lesman. We can connect to any flow meter. So if you've got a flow meter that's out there, whether it's a Siemens product or another manufacturer that has a 4 to 20 milliamp of frequency output for the flow, this device will take that flow input. It's offered in a dual channel, so it can do either heating and cooling or whatever combination you want to do together. Can be configured with temperature transmitters or RTDs, and can also be configured based on the fluids for the specific heat. So if you're running a chilled water line with 30, 40, or 50% glycol, we can customize that as well to provide the accuracy required, especially if it's a billing application. What's nice is the graphical color display with the 6 variables. You've got a lot of pages that will give you different alarms and trending, and it's got a local configuration. But the other thing too is that in the HVAC market, the main digital communications that are inherent and standard in the unit are BACnet, IP. We offer MSTP as well, and Modbus TCP IP. And that's typically what you're going to find, along with your typical analog outputs as well. It's offered in AC or DC unit. We find there's a mix in both requirements depending on the application of the building requirements. So it basically provides an accurate and reliable management for energy billing. It's very flexible as far as the temperature measurements that you take in, as well as the flow measurements, and having that dual channel capability minimizes the amount of real estate on the wall to have those 2 channels built into one. So again, excellent meter for if you're doing sub-metering, tenant meter billing, whether it's in universities, district energy, what have you. This is a perfect fit to meet those application requirements. Another thing that EIS puts together are custom meter configurations. So this is plug and play, and here we're showing a Siemens MAG 8000 magnetic transmitter, which is battery operated. But the nice thing here is we've got the capability to customize any flow meter in our PI portfolio to meet your application needs. So if it's specific programming, if you've got upstream or downstream, spools for lay length that you need, even if there's optional requirements such as strainers or what have you, we've got the ability to pre-package that based on your specification. We'll have an application data sheet that would have the lay length and everything that you need. We've got the ability to do the custom programming. So in this particular case, and a lot of applications we've been working on are water distribution billing. So there we're changing the billing digit format, the registered units, and we've got the ability to change the pulse output rate and functionality to meet the system that's timed back into. But we've also got capability of custom cabling. We'll put custom cables in there. We'll also have it where it's submersible, so it could be submerged underwater as well. And also put any custom meter ID numbers on there, custom labeling or tagging requirements that you have. So for any of your flow meter needs, whether it's an inline spool, magnetic flow meter applications, we've got the ability to do all that in-house and send that out as a complete configuration. Another offering that we have, a while back, Siemens had partnered with WICA. WICA is a leader in magnetic level indicators, and as you know, magnetic level indicators are a value to have that visualization when you're out, compared to that of sight glasses. If you look at sight glasses that are old, that are wearing, they're fatigued, you can't see them anymore. We found a lot of customers, they were outlawed in some industries where they had a requirement to replace those. This is a perfect fit to have that local indication, but we package it with a redundant measurement where we can package it with our guided wave radar, capacitance level, or a limit switch. But that gives you your remote, your let's just say your local indication, but it also gives you a remote measurement as well. Tie that back into a DCS or a PLC. There's a wide range of chamber and float materials depending on the application. And the key thing is you only have 2 process connections, but you can have up to 3 level measurements. So in this particular case, you can have it with a guided wave radar. You have the local indication, or even have like a read chain transmitter or a level limit switch. But this is a direct replacement for gauges or glass gauges that you already have out in the field. as a retrofit, and giving you local indication as well as the ability to communicate that back. We do have some, the main requirements for that are to understand the temperature, pressure, and the specific gravity. Even on here, we note on the specific gravity a minimum of 0.35, but again, that's application dependent. So based on our review, we'll be able to determine the suitable solution for you.
Great, thanks, Marty. So the next solution we want to talk to you about is a solution that was based on an old legacy product, which is our LU10 and AirRanger for level ultrasonics. And this solution was in particular for a cement industry. And we replaced in this case, it was a vintage, this was 30-year-old equipment that was aging and starting to fail and not work. And in fact, operators were no longer trusting the readings, and they would kind of go up to these silos. These were up at the top of cement silos, and they would be manually dropping measurements to, basically confirm the readings that this was supposed to do as originally intended. So this solution, we replaced the entire system or retrofitted the old AirRanger with a new technology. We have Siemens as the LR560 continuous radar level transmitter. So we updated the technology, and we also included the hardware to take the signals and communicate all that information back to the customer's DCS. So that was something that they had been slowly, as said, 30-year-old vintage equipment. They kind of got used to sending people up on top of the silo to take readings, and living with the fact that the technology was no longer working. So this is something that we implemented for them to tie all the signals back via Modbus RTU communications back to their DCS system. So while we were doing that project, they also said, well, we have additional silos that we wanted to take information back to our DCS. But it was, these silos were located at great distances from the control room. And also, if you looked at physically trying to run 4 to 20 wires back to the DCS control room, it can get pretty costly pretty quickly. Depending on the complexity of your plant layout and everything like that, planning an installation like that is very important, and to take those costs into consideration. And with wireless becoming more acceptable in the industry, Siemens provided a Scalance, which is our communications and information division. We have the Scalance products that we provided an industrial wireless LAN to communicate. We provided the access point and client radios, to provided a box at the top of the silo to take the level signals and communicate them back wirelessly to their DCS system. And they were very happy with that, and now they've got their eyes on those that process data, and they've got it back into their DCS. So very, very nice solution. Go to the next. So while we're on the topic of wireless, and this is another example, if you look at the diagram that's on the right-hand side, where we designed in this case, the customer had a preference for Profibus transmitters. So we designed a Profibus network with a wireless interface that communicated information back to their DCS wirelessly. Again, using access point and client radios from the Scalance product line. Switches, we've got the antennas, the omnidirectional and directional to set up the network and do all those configurations. So we've got a lot of communications products in our arsenal for wireless transmission of signals back to your control system. So again, in this example was Profibus. It can be Modbus. It can be whatever. If you want to do Ethernet IP, depends on how you want to get that information back to your radios. So this is again kind of going through some of the different ways to communicate to and from and the different options that we have available for the wireless product. And again, the other piece to this is you see these Mind Connect devices, which are on the right-hand side. We'll start to talk about digitalization. So now you can talk about taking that information or that process data that you're collecting from your field devices and transmitting them wirelessly. You can transmit them wirelessly back to your DCS, and you can also install one of these Mind Connect devices, which is a gateway, and that gateway communicates to the cloud. And that's where these digitalization opportunities can come about, and how you can get your process data basically at your fingertips on your PC or on a handheld communication with an easy cloud connection with these Mind Connect devices.
Thanks, John. Sorry about that toggle there. Got a little ahead with the button, the forward button. All right, so we talked a little bit about some of the standard offerings we have as far as solutions with thermal energy, custom spools, site gauge replacement. You know, John touched a little bit on the communications, wireless communications, and so forth, and that kind of bridges us into the cloud. And like John was mentioning, we've got different Mind Connect devices, and you know, we use that Mind Connect term. You know, Siemens offers a cloud-based open IoT platform that we've partnered with Amazon Web Services. So we've got a known data farm that's had success over the years, and on top of that we have MindSphere, which is our Siemens operating system that sits on that cloud. And what's nice with the open IoT platform is that the end user has the ability to develop their own applications if they want to have remote data. The platform provider, which in this case would be Siemens, we've got a whole line of basic, well, let's say basic, but let's say remote monitoring apps that are great for monitoring remote sites or having access to sites, alarming and so forth, which we'll touch on. There's also the ability to have third-party develop those apps. But in addition to what we're discussing here today, we'll talk about some of the remote monitoring apps. We've actually got suites that are much more complex that might actually, or do actually, provide insights on an application like valve monitoring or pumping efficiency. And going forward, the big buzzword in all the industries is the terms of digitalization and Industry 4.0 and big data. And it's taking the data that you have in those field instruments, not just the standard data that you might use on a day-to-day to control your process, whether distributed control system, PLC, or SCADA, but all that other data that resides in those field instruments that can be used to provide insights, alarming, preventive maintenance, and really improve efficiency, optimization overall for a company. And going forward, companies are really pushing for this because that's going to make them more competitive, leaner, more optimized, availability to market, if it's in the pharmaceutical or automotive industry or whatever industry you're in. It's really taking it to that next paradigm shift of going from industrial revolution is the example I used, to electrification. You had automation, and now that fourth tier is digitalization. So through EIS, we offer cloud services. Go to the next slide here real quick. Is you look at we break it down in 3 easy steps. John mentioned a little bit on some of the Mind Connect devices, but the nice thing with being part of Siemens is we've got access to all of the different communication devices, protocols, every division, whether it's PLC, and through our group, we can package anything that Siemens has to offer together along with our instruments. So, the first step is enabling that connectivity. So you've got your devices out in the field, and keeping in mind, if it's a device that has a certain protocol and your plant uses a different protocol, it doesn't always have to be native in the device. We've got the ability to take one protocol and convert that overall to another, whether it's Ethernet IP or so forth. but it's getting that data to the connectivity to get that data into the cloud. And then running that data and managing your assets with those smart applications. On this next slide here, we kind of break it down a little bit, where on the right you can see you've got your field instruments. Those field instruments might be tying back into, in this particular case, we're tying it back into a Siemens PCS7 distributed control system with our Somatic PDM. But then we're also taking the data and we're sending that through some of our MindConnect devices, and those can be either hardwired, they can be wireless devices, cellular, that connect directly to our cloud. So now you've got one ecosystem where if you're a global company or you got multiple facilities, you can have data from all those particular facilities up in the cloud, and you can have applications that are tailored specifically around the areas that you have a need for. And here too, we're also showing the different capability with Profibus and the different wireless field buses that we have too. The one thing we're not going to get into detail here, but I do want to mention that one of the prerequisites before any company really gets into pushing data into the cloud, whether that's proprietary data or what have you, it's cybersecurity, and that's one of the things we take very seriously. All of our instruments have security measures built into them. We actually have an entire cybersecurity group that can bring you through all the 5 steps, and that can be coming out to do an assessment of your IT or OT, actually putting together a plan, implementing it, testing it. If you're staffed with IT and OT, we offer training to keep them up to speed on any of the upcoming changes in cybersecurity or threats that may be up and coming. And we also offer the service if you don't have people staffed, where we could do the remote monitoring and protection for you. So I just want to throw that in there because I know that always comes up anyway, that how do we handle securing data. But this kind of brings us into where we really wanted to focus today is remote monitoring. And the next 2 slides that I'm going to show, we're very big in the water market, in oil and gas. So we picked 2 areas. One's called Wattmon for water monitoring. The other application is called TankMon for tank monitoring, and that voted by itself. It's pretty good. Let me go back. But the thing here is this remote monitoring application that we offer can be tailored to any application in any industry. So for those listening on the phone that may not be in the water market or in oil and gas for doing tank monitoring, if you've got a specific need in a plant, whether it's remote, it's local, that you want to have remote visibility and monitoring, we could do that. In this particular case, we were looking and working with companies in the distribution, treatment, and lift stations where they wanted remote monitoring. They wanted to reduce those recurring site visits, which is going to reduce their costs, increase their availability, and also the visibility of their particular sites. But I think one of the main things too is having that predictive autonomous data as well, predictive maintenance. So you've got a lot of data that are in each of your field transmitters that can provide preventive maintenance. Maybe when a particular part of a plant may be going down or an instrument's going to fail well in advance before you actually have downtime, which can be very costly. And being able to access that data across any device, whether it be a tablet or a smartphone, but having those alarms and monitoring and notifications that could be sent to you. It could be customized for different levels of authority, what they get to see. We can stage the different alarmings too as to who gets notified and how many times that those notifications need to go out to make sure that they're aware that there are possible issues out in the field. So we've got a lot of sites right now that we're working with across the US that we're doing the custom monitoring on the water side. And then when you look at remote tank monitoring in the different industries, manual tank measurement is hazardous. In the oil and gas industry, it's even more hazardous because of the off-gassing and what have you, while while you're doing that. But you know, obviously you've got the height of the tanks and stuff like that. But putting in the instrumentation, and that's where, you know, we've got our liquid and dry level solids, um, level instrumentation, whether it's all LR250 or what have you. But being able to take that data, the data that from those sensors that may not have been used in the past, and being able to put that in a format that can be visualized remotely. And shown a little bit on the bottom of the screen here is a example of what one of the applications would look at. So if you had tank form 1, you can look at that tank level, you can look at the volume, whatever particular information you want to see, and then you can set alarming around that. So the whole goal here is increasing that operational efficiency and just having that real-time asset management and data available, and company-wide, because now, you know, if you've got multiple locations, you know, around the world or even here in the U.S., you can see how other areas are performing. You've got that remote indication. So we've got the ability to do the level measurement. We've got the instrumentation, and not only that, the field experience. We've got Lesman as our channel partner with their level of experience, having access to the portfolio. We've got all the communication hardware and security protection to put that data into the cloud with the cloud services, and the ability to customize and tailor an application that can meet your application requirements. On this slide here, I'm just going to give an example where we took one of our gas meters, a clamp-on ultrasonic flow gas meter, and you look at, you know, remote locations that are you know, pretty strict or some harsh environments, and we've packaged that in what we call our enhanced enclosure that can be either 304 or 316 stainless steel, packaged with a power supply and a Siemens RuggedCom RX 1400. But we put this package together here because we've got a lot of installations that are remotely mounted or monitored, especially like out in Oklahoma and stuff like that, that, you know, the NEMA 4X displays just get destroyed and sandblasted. So this is a protective enclosure that's allowing us to take data from that meter and provide it remotely. So that's giving you the real-time flow measurements and diagnostics, but it's also giving you, you know, quick response to, you know, critical events for those custom alerts. You've got the data logging and trending that could be available there with historical data. And in a lot of those locations, there are, you know, mandatory site visits that can now be reduced and utilize that time somewhere else. But the nice thing here too is that RX 1400 device can take in up to 1,000 parameters. So not only can we measure remotely our data, but any other analytical device or instrument that's out in the field, and customize and tailor the application to meet your needs. John, anything you want to add before I go over to the next slide?
Yeah, no, I think what's important also is that, you know, when we start talking about these applications and accessing the data on their phone, I think, you know, the big thing for me is when you're looking at, like, for example, the inventory monitoring, like there's different reasons why you as an operator would want that information, right? You're going to be looking at what the device health is, alarming and trending, and maybe some production related information from those from the application, while the operations and finance people, you know, would maybe want to dial in and see, okay, what does my inventory levels look like in these tanks, right? And they want to be able to run reports and do some analysis and additional, you know, data mining, you know, for what's my month end, you know, inventory look like. And that's, so you've got, you know, starting to look at how these applications get smart. And then there's not only from the operator side, you know, because I think when you're looking at it, well, that's great that I have it on my phone, but, you know, there's two sides to it, I think, and that's, you know, the operational side, and then there's the finance side, or the guys that are looking at the numbers and trying to get information about, you know, what's going on in the production environment, or that environment where they can get that data through the applications.
No, that's a great point, and it's glad that you brought that up. That is the other whole aspect to it. Okay, next slide.
Yeah, so to continue on, I guess these are some of these additional solutions that we came up with. So we kind of talked about the clamp-on flow meters. So we have a lot of install base in the field for the gas and oil measurements. And we have basically an accessory that is a sun shield that is designed to protect and enhance the LCD screen to protect it from the sun. So it's something as simple as that, and additional, the ability to basically take our clamp-on flow meter and mount it into, we call it an enhanced enclosure for your harsh environments, for even offshore applications where you've got, stainless steel is a requirement because of the going offshore. But again, this is, the flexibility that our team has to come up with different solutions to meet application requirements that maybe our standard products uh, doesn't have that, but if it had this feature or this function set or the ability to do this, that's how the solutions get developed. So these are some of the things that we've worked with and have come across as we've gone through. So the other thing that we have here is our pressure calibration service. So we actually invested in a BMX MT6 unit, which is pretty much one of the standards in the industry. It's a NIST traceable device, and not only can we do factory calibration, which is if you would send in devices, or if you've got spare units that you're cycling in, you want to send them in for a factory calibration. If they've been sitting on the shelf for a period of time, you can send them to us and we can calibrate them for you. We can also do the portable or on-site calibration, which you say, I can't send these to you. These, you got to come here. We got to do it in situ. We can do a portable on-site calibration as well. So, and again, we do that with all our pressure transmitters. We've got the different communication support for depending on the transmitter that you have. So again, another service that we have for pressure calibration. And in
Great.
summary, yeah, do you want to do the summary, Marty? Go ahead.
Yeah. I just thing off my screen so I could see it. So yeah, just in summary, going through everything we discussed, just wanted to leave everybody with a couple things where, Siemens EIS, our engineered instrument solution team, along with Lesman, provides that expert engineering services. We can do the custom designs and cost-effective solutions. So anything that you have that you feel you need some help with, please present that to Lesman and we'll be very happy to work with you on that. The current solution offerings that we did discuss, the thermal energy measurement for your chill water, hot water, custom meter configurations, wireless to sun shields and enhanced enclosures, but moving into digitalization, the cloud services and remote monitoring. Like John says, you've got the accounting side of it too, whether you've got a bin that needs to be reloaded, a vessel or tank. You've got that accessibility on smart devices. It could be a reduction in site visits. You get the notifications, but keep in mind also that it could be an application that has existing instrumentation, what have you. It could be a distributed control PLC or a SCADA from any manufacturer. We can come in, pull the data that's required to satisfy the requirement that you have on an app that you're looking for, whether it's a third-party DCS, PLC, instrumentation, or we can provide all that instrumentation as well. So again, that's something that we wanted to touch on, and I'm going to leave it open for questions now at this point. And before we go there, I just want to, John and myself, just thank everybody for taking their time today to meet with us and just allow us to go over who EIS is, what we have, and we hope that we could work with you in the near future. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you.
So I did unmute everyone, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask at this time. Okay, well, I'm not hearing any questions at this time. So should you think of something after you hang up the phone, then just go back through your local sales rep at Lesman Instrument Company, or feel free to contact me, Jim Haldeman, at 262-960-1549, and I can put you in touch with the proper people. So at this time, I think we're done. Thank you for your time, and have a wonderful day. John and Marty, thank you once again.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you,
Yes, thank you.
for coordinating. Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Bye now.